Howdy-o, what do you know, it is Rabbit of ScrubLeet Academy, and these are the top 10 most garbage you'll never take them feats in order in Baldur's Gate 3. It's time to initiate the rage. If you haven't seen my previous tier list linked up top and in the description, check them out. Remember, this list will pertain to honor mode above all else, but you could take it as a reliable feat chain for pretty much every difficulty. I don't want to waste too much time talking about how this is my opinion, so just assume this list is completely infallible, okay? All right, let's get to it. Number 10, Skilled. I know, it seems like a good idea on paper, doesn't it? How could I have more distaste for this than the number 1 feat on my previous video? By the way, check that out if you're curious. Well, the answer is in the very value of skills themselves. As things stand, the good skills on every set difficulty are athletics, sometimes acrobatics, sleight of hand, stealth, occasionally arcana in nature, medicine for your camped alchemist, perception, intimidation, and persuasion. After that, you find a progressively less value for each skill, until you hit performance with absolutely no importance to it whatsoever. A bard or rogue can cover every single skill you need plus expertise, making them better than this feat. A paladin has your intimidation and athletics, so it could be a great face. Sorcerer and warlock cover the intelligence skills. Barbarian's got intimidation and perception, as does fighter. Ranger can be your scout. Pretty much all the classes cover the main skills this feat would give, so it's pointless. That's why I qualify it as the best of the worst. As much as I dislike unnamed feat in previous video, I have to respect that a warlock might take one of them. Nobody's gonna want to take this. Number 9, Mage Slayer. If you want my honest opinion, this one actually kind of sucks to put on this list. I feel like it's so much better on paper than it is in actual practice. The problem is, you'll never find a build that uses it more than a few times in a single playthrough. Casters rarely want to stay in melee range with you, so you're not going to be able to melee them when they cast spells. The only benefit is to give them disadvantage on their concentration when you hit them, but even then, you'll do enough damage to destroy them with a two-handed weapon, so it's always an inferior option to just debuff them. The only idea I've been able to come up with is that you can combine this with Sentinel, but even then, other feats cover this role so much better. It's just a terrible feat. Number 8, Dungeon Delver. Of all the feats so far, this one's actually bad in both BG3 and the D&D tabletop game. It's just too niche, it always has been, and I've actually vetoed its effects to provide more use to my own players on tabletop. It's so uncommon that you'll find a reason to take this one, but it is not the absolute worst by virtue of actually, technically, being mildly useful some of the time in trap-heavy areas. Still, it provides nothing that 4 perception checks wouldn't, so it's not that great after all. Number 7, Martial Adept. The Battlemaster is my favorite fighter subclass and a potent option, so you'd think this feat was up to the task, but I have so far found no builds that want to waste their feat slot on this. Even getting another superiority die for the Battlemaster isn't good enough to justify taking this feat, since the soup dice rely on a short rest and you have so many before long. Martial Adept's just too garbage to bother with, and what's more, the soup die is a d6, or a 6-sided die, meaning it's not even a good soup die for non-BM classes. I highly recommend against taking this feat in its current form. Number 6, Heavily Armored. While Heavy Armor Mastery is a powerful addition to a heavily armored character, the feat bearing the same name is just plain bad. Only classes proficient in medium armor can even grab this feat, but the most prominent one, that being Barbarian, can't even use its iconic rage while wearing heavy armor. The rest of the classes that would want this, aside from Druid, all have easy ways to pick it up without spending a feat, and Druid's shapeshift forms pretty much preclude using armor stats in any way. What's more, even the caster would gain just as much from better medium armor effects. This feat is hot garbage roasting on the side of a crumbling driveway during pickup day. Number 5, Ritual Caster. For this one, think Magic Initiate, but somehow even more hideously bad. Of the few ritual spells in the game that this feat could actually provide, most are already easily obtained elsewhere, and those that aren't that good anyway. Disguise Self and Longstrider are pretty much the only good ones out of this list, but let's be real, you're taking Disguise Self, cause it's way more fun. So what are you waiting for? Go Magic Initiate Wizard. Or just Wizard. Yeah, Ritual Caster just bites. Number 4, Durable. Durable is dumb. +1 con, and you restore all your health on a short rest rather than half. It's horrible if you spend even a small amount of time on alchemy, or, I don't know, just taking advantage of long rests at almost any time in the game. There is a single area I think this matters for near the very end of the game, and by then, you should have brought along a few angelic potions to make this point redundant. Durable is never worth a feat, never even worth a glance, and I would be happiest if they simply skewered the code that was wasted even entering description text for this feat. Number 3, lightly armored. You remember all that stuff I said about heavily armored? Well, think about that, but for a feat that means nothing. Literally, mage armor does more work than light armor, caster clothing is often better for casters than any light armor in BG3, and so many cloth accessories are better for casters than their light armor comparisons. For the very few options that are better for certain builds, Warlock can, and is the best one to, take advantage of them. The waste bin's getting a bit full, but we have 2 more feats, and I debated between these 2 for a long time before I finally settled on this one. Number 2, Performer. The legitimately only thing this feat is good for is roleplaying. Instrument proficiency is useless outside of bard stuff or just getting an achievement for wasting enough time putting on shows, which I sadly do have. It's a completely trash tier, garbage, terrible feat. But if you want to be a musician in the middle of a town, you'll probably find something in this one, I guess. Just don't expect it to do anything for you in the future. Number 1, Weapon Master. I swear to you, I tried to justify this one at spot number 2. I really did. In tabletop, this is considered the absolute worst feat in the game, usable for pretty much nobody and providing pretty much nothing to pretty much anybody in the game. I went through every build I've ever tried in BG3, but all I could do is find examples where I MacGyvered something together through some combination of race, class, and special item proficiencies that meant I wouldn't have to ever take this feat. This is the worst feat in BG3 specifically because I actively attempted to steer clear of it, which is not something I can say about any other feat I've brought up in any of these videos. This feat is the ultimate in trash, the diaper thrown out on a precarious, teetering pile just before it all comes tumbling down. This is it, people, the worst constructed feat in all of D&D in every form. Even now that so many source books and revamps have been introduced, Weapon Master remains the top, number 1, lowest of the low, trash tier feat in every medium the designers begrudgingly ham-fisted into. And those are the absolute most terrible feats in BG3. If you liked what you saw, do all the stuff everybody tells you to do, and don't forget to do more of the stuff everybody tells you to do. That said, I'm gonna get up out of here, but you take care, and bye-bye for now.